Hello, sweet souls. This is DTO in the flow. And today I am grateful to share with you that I get to interview Steffi Seefeld, and she has been living her life full out with full speed. Well, maybe now slowing down a little bit. And she gets to share her gifts of unconditional love and service to uplift every being she encounters. As an international master coach and somatic embodiment facilitator, Steffi merges the significance of the elements of expressive arts therapy and transformational coaching in yoga. Steffi now shares with the world her long life curiosity and high value of the art of connection, the type of connection every heart and soul is longing for. Spending the last decade on investigation and exploration of all kinds of connections, Steffi has created and built Connection University that is here to serve and change culture away from loneliness towards belonging. Let's welcome
Yes.
Steffi. How are you?
No. Hi. It's so good to be here. Yay.
Totally. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are live streaming. And what that means is you get to write in the comments, you get to share this, do a watch party, whatever you're feeling called to do. And then, if you would share with us, because, Steffi's originally from Germany, and where are you located? Maybe we have some international family, friends of Steffi, or other international travels,
Oh.
which I'm sure between the both of us, we've covered at least 25 plus countries.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. How many countries for you? I've been to 13 countries.
Oh my God. I don't know.
That's a good
I
sign.
think, yeah, I think growing up in Germany, where every country, like it's like so close. Europe is so close to each other. Every
Yeah.
country and your culture is so different, and we traveled so much. It's like it's easy to have, to have a lot of countries to travel to.
Absolutely. Yes. And so, wow. Well, let's just take a deep breath in through the nose, with the mouth exhale. Yes, yes, yes. And let's give everyone a background of how we connected, which is
Mm.
there was this beautiful event that Ronnie put on. It was in La Jolla, and it was wow, just musicians and artists and yoga and healing and concerts and delicious and nutritious vegan food and all of that. And I was playing live yoga music for a class, and you were in that space and you had these amazing wings on, which is
Yes.
so representative of your personality. Even as we said at the beginning, you travel to so many countries, you just fly to the countries, right? Uh,
Yeah.
totally. And I believe
Oh,
it was in Shavasana. I remember like playing my guitar above you, and you just had this super like blissful smile. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love your smile. And so we got to connect and have beautiful
yeah.
conversation. And yes, and
Oh my
it's
God,
wonderful.
that was a really amazing experience. I think that was one of my first live music yoga classes.
Mm,
And you just had
wonderful.
all of your instruments there. You had from rainstick to harmonium, guitar, your production. And it's like, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Right. That's what's so
Yeah.
wonderful about that combination is
Mhm.
to integrate sound healing, which I know that you love music, and we'll get into those questions in a little bit, and the power of that opening your heart space, and then with
Mhm.
shavasana and that last pose of yoga for anyone that hasn't practiced asanas yet. And yeah, so my first question for you, normally my question kicks off with, let's talk about your background in yoga, which we'll get to. But right now, in this time in human history, there's a global pandemic happening, and everyone watching right now understands that. Of course, this is archived on YouTube, on Facebook, streaming on Twitter. So maybe someone will watch this years from now and be like, oh, yeah, COVID-19. What was that? Was it like a secret agent name or something? Like 007?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. So as we know, there's this virus that is um, affecting and impacting everyone's life in a variety of ways. And I feel like anything that happens in life, this is even before this virus, we get to choose how we perceive it. And we get to say, all right, is this something we're absolutely going to be fearful of and it's going to knock us off our course or our pathway of our visions in life? Or are we going to step up and say, hey, we get to shift and alter and adapt and find it as a challenge? And there's an opportunity within that. So, my first question is, how are you doing with the challenges of COVID 19?
Mm. So I'm personally actually really good.
Good.
I'm healthy, which is the most important thing. And I would say I'm just an internal optimist. Like it's
Yeah.
really easy for me to be optimistic. It's just very natural. So, and also I feel like all the practices, and including yoga being a big part of that,
Yeah.
that have become not just a practice, just my being really have helped me to and prepared me. I feel like I've prepared me for this moment to just stay calm and trust that it's going to be all right. I don't have an answer for tomorrow's, for right now, even the challenges. And I can trust that there will be answers and I can have an impact. I can create those answers, some of those. Obviously, others I can't. And there's these ebbs and flows of emotions coming in. I mean, I'm so blessed living in this wonderful home, in this wonderful location with a wonderful person together that I feel just so home and held and supported and
Mm.
loved and safe. And knowing that there's a lot of people out there that don't have that, that is maybe even the opposite, that there's a lot of challenges and really sad situations going on. And also, I have dear friends that are either nurses or doctors. So being in touch with them really brings I would say, the diversity of situations that are out that are happening right now really closer and make me appreciate my life a lot and my situation, and also just wanting to be of service. And so that's where I just really dove into just being of service with either virtual yoga classes, with meditations, with anything I can offer that helps people to stay calm and to just breathe, and anti-anxiety, anti-stress. And so, and that goes from here to Germany. I feel like my friends and my family in Germany are mostly doing better
Mm.
than people here, but it's also a different way of fear, because here in the States, with the system that's set up or not set up, there's existential fears about financial and finances and about health, and that to that extreme is not really present in Germany, where there is a healthcare system that is there for you and you don't have to worry about $100,000 bills. And it's also unemployment is still an okay situation, I would say,
Mm.
in those countries. And so I feel like my friends and my families are safe and healthy as well. So yeah.
Mm, that's wonderful. Great to hear that. And yeah, what we've witnessed, and a cello player, dear soul sister friend of mine, Christine, her and her family are in Sicily, and Italy has been completely. We just heard from her recently, like absolutely quarantine, where you cannot leave your house type of quarantine. Like you
Yeah.
get penalized, or the police are roaming the streets to make sure you cannot leave. And she has 4 children. So how do you interchain and homeschool
Oh my
and all?
god.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic there. And she's a
Yeah.
cello player, so guess what? She's creative, she's playing, and there's these opportunities. And I've always seen you as such a creative soul, and you and Rachel, and what you've been, and your connection university, and all of what you're just offering in the world. I feel that
Yeah.
and your music, and you play guitar and you sing. And so for some of us, we see these challenges as opportunities. And in real time here, talking about musicians, here's a good friend of mine, Johnny June,
Okay,
amazing artist.
good.
And
Right.
then uh Abdel, how are you? Todo bien. Yeah, so
Mm,
anyone that's watching right now on the live stream, again, we encourage you to comment, share,
yes.
ask a question of how you're doing. If this is the first time you've seen Steffi on an interview, these are these, ask her. Oh, I already asked her what,
Ask her anything. Yeah.
totally. Awesome. Oh, someone says I need to turn up my mic. Let me do that. So let me get into question one. So I'll have you respond to that while I turn my mic up.
Sure.
My first one was about COVID-19. So question number two is, tell us about your personal journey with yoga and why is it important to you?
Wow. Yeah. It's almost I mean, it is. A life without yoga is not even possible to think about anymore. And so I think, because I think everything becomes yoga. And what I mean by that, everything becomes a practice of presence. And it doesn't always need to be still or calm, but it's present, and always having the trust that I can arrive home into what's true for me, what is my heart longing for, what are my strengths, what am I, who am I, what am I? And I think the yoga practice, as we know it in the Western world, more as the asana and the going onto your mat, that has become a crucial part of my life. And especially during this time, I think I've been doing more yoga again, on the mat. And how it started was when I lived in Berlin, I would start on this local ClassPass app to go to workouts, and one of them was yoga. And then I kept going to this one teacher because I learned from her that yoga was breathing. Because I was like, oh my God, this inhale, exhale thing, I really loved how you cued it. And she's like, well, that's yoga. So what I love about the yoga was really the simplicity, and that there was no competition, where everywhere else in jobs and some relationships, unfortunately, or within ourselves, there's so much competition. I want to be better. I want to be better. I want to be better, and bigger and wider and smaller and thinner, anything. But there's like never this good enough piece. And I feel like with yoga, there is this, whatever you are feeling right now is brilliant, like, and that presence aspect. And I feel like that was also one of the first times where I thought I should teach that. Those moments where you're like, I could do that too. And that's what I followed to become then a yoga teacher, on a totally different story and international travel story as well, where it's like, oh, I should do a yoga retreat. And I was like, I could just pay a little bit more and become a teacher. And that's what I did. And it's been a true, true, true blessing for me I'm so curious. I love the teachings. Like, I love the anatomy of our bodies and yellow glasses. I love it. Yes.
Yes. Here we go. Teaching about, hey, you're already answering question number 3. So what inspired you to teach? You're talking about anatomy, and you said you want to do a retreat, and then you got inspired to be like, well, why pay for a retreat when you can just create and design events and experiences and
and I think that was so underlying in me. I wouldn't let that part come out of me yet, because I was such in a business corporate world, and you have this idea of roles that you have and what you are, and that's what it was for me. But then on that trip, I was like, I would love to become a yoga teacher. I would love to like, and I could feel that I have that in me, that what that teacher gave me, and I was able to receive from her. I felt that I'm able to do that too for others. And that was so beautiful. And then that was like a silent allowance of that coming through. I didn't have to let anyone know, kind of, but then that whole journey of self-expression started with that. And, and that feeling that a yoga teacher and yoga class gave me is really something. Is like, I want to make everyone feel that way.
Yeah.
So
everyone that's ever practiced asana, and a lot of times when you say yoga, anyone that's out there that hasn't like developed an understanding, yoga is like a lifestyle, a pathway, right? And the asana practice is the movement. The easy way to say it is you put your body in different shapes. Breath to movements, right? So here's the teaching. Here's a wonderful photo of you.
That's not yoga teaching, but
you're teaching life in general. You're speaking to someone, or you're giving an invisible massage to someone.
It looks like
it's a COVID-19 friendly physical distancing type of massage, right? That's wonderful. Yeah. So I know that once you, Rachel, and myself, we had dinner, we were speaking about different classes that you offer. And so what's unique about what you offer? I know that you've done like blindfold yoga and a whole other array of ecstatic dancing and movement. So yeah, so
Yeah.
now that you were inspired to teach and you took that pathway, you got your 200 hours, and then you, as any teacher out there that's watching right now, or anyone that possibly will become a yoga instructor, there's so many different avenues. You could become Kundalini instructor. You could become more like restorative. You could do like prenatal. You'd simply do like your own creativity, right? Develop your own. So what is it that you are excited about and passionate about when it comes to styles of yoga?
Mm, I think what I'm most um, yeah, passionate about, or what I really want people to feel like when they go to yoga class, is the exploration with in the between parts, basically. So obviously that I always allow the class to be an exploration, curiosity, like I love the curiosity because I feel like it's the key to presence, and that's what I love, when we can all be really present. And the classes are, I like to think about it, how we do anything is how we do everything.
Yes.
And in the yoga practice, it's not about the asana. It's not about the way it looks. That's why I love the blindfolded yoga too. It's like, just, like just don't worry about how it looks. And nothing needs to look like an Instagram yoga pose. It's really it's like, how does it feel in my body? And how do I move from one pose into the next one? It's like a embodied metaphor for change. No, that's what we're experiencing right now. Like, how can I move mindfully into one, or from one into the other? And just that practice of presence with each moment and really listening to yourself. And that's the most important thing. Like, you can listen to my voice, but you can mostly listen to your inner voice. That's your body saying yes and no, or maybe this, or maybe this, just really giving that room for exploration.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I played music once for a class at the Bali Spirit Fest, and the instructor was from Australia. It was a co-taught class, and it was a blindfold yoga class. I think I sent you pictures or a video of it. So I was
Yeah,
like, oh
we
my
were
gosh.
talking about this afterwards.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really wonderful because I got to witness people experience my music in a way that I never imagined when I was in the studio, when I was producing, creating. There's all these blind spots that we truly, it's embedded as a creative soul. Like, you don't have a clue. You might have a vision, but the way that your art, your classes, the way that like Connection University, the impact that you have as a possibility, that starts with us, of course. Like, a lot of us know it's our process, our
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
metamorphosis that we get to have. And then when I was witnessing people blindfolded, like moving to my music, I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. And so
Yeah.
yes, it's so wonderful. And now you could do that and just say, hey, you're in your living room and you're in your bedroom, everyone's quarantined indoors. Turn off the
Yeah.
lights.
Yeah.
Just don't knock any furniture over.
Exactly.
That's awesome. But I
Yeah.
love what you're speaking about. Like, really what you're focused on teaching right now is connection and
Yes.
belonging.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for me. Wow, I actually listened to one of your podcasts, and that theme of belonging and connection is really powerful. And do you have a distinction between like belonging and connection, or do you feel like both of those can be collapsed into the same type of teachings?
Yeah. Do you mean yoga and belonging, or do you mean connection and belonging?
Yeah, connection and belonging.
Okay.
So, like, what would you interpret if someone's like, "Hey, what's the difference between
Mm-hmm.
connection and belonging?" Because I know both of those themes are really present in your life right now.
Yeah. I haven't thought about it that way, but my instinct, my immediate response to that is, what I see belonging is our birthright, and it's not a privilege. It's just really, we are born belonging to someone, to a mother, to
Hmm.
and it shouldn't ever be taken away from us, and we should not let it take away from us either. But we do that as a society, wearing our mask, wearing our guard up to protect ourselves, because we've learned that we're not safe, and that ends up being lonely. We can be in connection with people, and I think that's where the distinction is. Like, when we can be connected but I get to determine, or I get to decide what level of connection do I let myself be in. And it turns out that, you know, at least half of the people in the States, I know, the studies are growing, but there's this so-called loneliness epidemic. And and it's, you know, even we work 8 hours, 9 hours a day in an office with people, but half of the people don't really know you. Like, they're lonely because they don't let anyone know them. Like, we're always protecting ourselves. And we get to feel lonely, we get to feel depressed, anxious, and super isolated. And now with being actually isolated at home, this might go even deeper and even worse. And so that's why, I mean, it really shows up also in our emotional, our mental, and our physical bodies when we do feel lonely. And it does make us sick or ill. And that just makes me, you know, I don't know, this is just my way of being, or my purpose, I feel like, is that just shifting the culture from individualism to belonging, to a culture of acceptance, or a culture of compassion, being present with each other. And you know, there's so many layers of that. So that's where my journey has taken me now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have heard that term, that we are living in the age of loneliness. And I feel like your distinction is really powerful, because if everyone can simply know it's our birthright to belong, because most of the time loneliness is like, I don't feel like I belong to anything or anywhere or any place or any community or any family or any set of friends, or like the classic thing we all have experienced in high school, where you're like, where is my people? You know, am I a jock? Am I a nerd? Am I like, who am I? Right?
Yeah.
And in the end, like the nerds won, of course. Like, we're all in this technology, like the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs, you know. They're making like huge impact in the world. They already have, of course. And so it's interesting, like we go down these different seasons of our lives. We have different chapters. And so at one time, I feel like we've all had, and I think there's been case studies where actually the teenage years are really important, where you're asking yourself, where do I belong and where do I fit in? What's my role? And that's why there's a lot of rebellion, which I'm sure you didn't have when you were a teenager, right? Or did you?
Not at all.
Where you're just like exploring, experimenting, like, I don't care what my parents say, I don't care what society says. And you're just like doing whatever you're going to do, because you're exploring that concept of, how do I fit into this earth, this puzzle of society? And then what is the societal pressures? What is the media telling us to do? And so when did you actually, what age did you get into your personal yoga pathway? Because I feel like that's important for a lot of our evolution, right? Is once we got into that practice, you felt that you belonged to a global yoga community.
Yeah, it actually was very late. I would say 6 years ago. 6 years ago. And I always had the feeling I belonged to some, like I always had these best friends, not only one best friend, but you know, that kind of belonging feeling. And luckily my mom was also blessing me with really with the feeling of unconditional love for a very long time. So that just, I knew that that's possible, you know, and I thought this is a given. I thought everyone is that way for a long time. So, and knowing that that, you know, it seems to be like it's a privilege, but it's not. So learning that through actually the yoga community, which is so amazing, that the diversity of people that yoga communities really have is such a rich experience. You know, like we get to learn and experience so much with each other, because we've all have different paths, and but we're willing to be open. We're willing to make an impact within ourselves and with others and for others.
Yes, and as everyone knows that practices yoga, like there's this phrase, like the teacher and the student within. Like we're both that at all times, and we get to be in the classroom of life, and we think like, what is it we're going to explore? So if you want to like express yourself in a certain way, oh, what's this? Who put this on the screen?
Yes.
If you want to express yourself in different ways, you get to do that, right? Fabulosity.
Oh my God, yes.
And of course, we get to be in, that depth within the depths of who we are. We get to peel back those proverbial onion layers and say, okay,
So
who are
many.
we? What's our
Mm-hmm.
soul's purpose? What's our
Mm-hmm.
dharma? Why are
Mm-hmm.
we here? And I feel like that is the connected tissue. It's the fascia that then is that connection that then has that sense of belonging. And would you agree with this? A lot of times it's we have to remember we belong, right? We forget and then we remember and we forget. Like as you said, like your mother is you came from her and you chose your mom and your mom chose to have you. And so there's this essence of belonging that's like hardwired into your existence. And
Yes,
so
absolutely.
how is it that we forget this? And do you have any techniques of like how to drop back into that space of belonging?
Mm, such a good question. I think how we forget this is, well, you just mentioned also the teenage years, bullying and
Yeah.
being not cool enough, being not sexy enough, being really influenced by all these stories outside. And even living, I'm leading this course right now. It's called Arriving Home, Falling in Love with Self, and really just coming home to yourself because you belong. I mean, first of all, you belong to yourself and you're safe within yourself. Like learning that because we've learned our entire life it's so unsafe. It's so unsafe to have short hair as a woman. It's so unsafe or it's not sexy enough.
Oh, wait, here we go.
But it is.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, you're so good at this.
So,
Yeah,
and you're talking about this is what you're offering right now. This is
exactly.
actively happening. The journey of true love begins within you, arriving
Yes.
home.
Yes. Yeah. Because, what I was talking about earlier, the type of connections that we are longing for and we know is possible, but maybe we're scared of, or we haven't had it in a really long time, or maybe we feel like we've never had it. And it just sounds like, I don't know if that even exists. It does exist and it does begin within yourself. It's like, I can't love anyone deeper than I love myself.
I love that. And in yoga, we say find your edge. So you find that spot. And if you're only willing to go so far within yourself, and then that's the reflection in a mirror of how your other relationships are going to show up.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I think, but coming back to your question, like there are so many ways we learn it's not safe. It's not safe to be, people that have, it might have even only been this one boyfriend or girlfriend that cheated on us that we may never ever trust anyone again,
Yes.
but we can learn that it's an experience and it's only with that person and it like really learning from every experience that hurt so much or that was so delightful. All of them are teachers. Like all experiences, everything we experience, like everything we go through, everything we that came to us is an experience for learning, for growth, or an invitation for growth. And it's so easy to say. I know that. And going through the feelings, I think one thing is really just allowing all the feelings to be there. Don't let them linger too long, but really
Yeah.
allowing them to be there and then to move on. And having people that you feel like, I'm really inspired by them, do not be intimidated to reach out. If you feel
Yeah.
like they talk or they have a relationship with a certain like you want, or you see them being on camera the way the way you want to be on camera, like reach out to them and tell them you're inspired by them and ask for tools or ask for tips. And I think that is really important, like finding the people that you're inspired by.
Yeah, that sounds like the connection piece, right? Like where
Mhm.
when you get to connect with people, and one of the most powerful lessons I've learned in life, and I'm sure you may agree with this, is make a request, reach out to someone. Doesn't matter where they are as you perceive them. And we are in this age of loneliness, as you mentioned. So you simply reaching out could be an opportunity for them to feel like, oh yeah, I can support this person, or there's some synergy there. And
Yeah.
follow that. I call it like a cosmic notification. You get all these notifications on your phone. Sometimes you get these like it's in your heart or your soul and your mind.
Yeah.
It's like, and then it reoccurs, and like, okay, okay, maybe I want to act on this. You might as well make the request, act on it, and see what is next, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you brought that up because I feel like we can only listen to those notifications or pay attention to them when we're present. When there's not too much chatter, not too much, we can call them lower vibrational things from outside going on, but when we're actually present and like, oh, I've been thinking about DTO 3 times now. I'm gonna reach out to him.
Right. They'd be like, hey, let's schedule a live streaming interview, and here we are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And as I mentioned, that's what's great about the beginning of our interview, is able to share with everyone how we first connected, and we connected in this beautiful sacred space. And so when that is the authentic way that we're able to synergize and become amazing friends, then it's, hey, how can we grow and expand and support and evolve each other in this journey? We're belonging together. And we all know, because you and I live in San Diego County, like there's a beautiful community and tribe that is so connected and on this courageous journey of like peeling back as many layers as possible and being as raw as possible. I know that was part of your bio. It's just that authentic rawness, right?
Yes.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at your website real fast. I want to share it with us. We talked about your podcast briefly, and you have a few episodes.
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of uploading a lot more. I've been, yeah.
Perfect. So and you do online classes, and here's a video that shares about that. And this is actually some of the themes that we've been talking about. Right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. We're just really basically shifting from self-sabotaging thoughts and actions you've put yourself into over and over again. And you're like, I'm done with this. I just really want to be like happy within myself, because from there you can have everything you want to. Like if it's a relationship you're really longing for, even if it's the relationship with your mom, it doesn't even have to be a romantic one, or with anyone, with your housemate, anything, with money, with the work that you do. It all begins within, and just seeing the effect, or just seeing the first class where one week in, it's incredible how just the group aspect already can just open up so many layers, like you were, onion peeling. It's incredible. I love this work so much. And honestly, during this period during the COVID time right now, I noticed that this really gives me the love and support that I need too. I mean, I'm facilitating, I'm contributing, but everyone else is contributing to me too. Like I feel so, it's just so mutually just.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, nourishing.
Yeah, and I'll dive into my fourth question, which is very similar to what you're talking about, is how when you're in this process, whatever that is, and for me, it's creating music, and I know you as well as a musician, singer, and that's one thing that we've potentially been planting seeds to collaborate on. And so my fourth question is, how do you integrate music, either broadly on a macro, into your life, into your programs, into your teachings, all of it? How does music play a role in this human experience?
Huge role. Short answer, huge role. No, it's really, I mean, just what we were saying in the beginning too, of the experience that I had with you, offering all of your instrumental journey to a yoga class. It's just, wow, it goes so deep. And last year I was on a healing journey with abnormal cells, like in an alternative way, letting abnormal cells leave the body. And I was listening to certain frequencies, right, that are repairing DNA or encouraging healing in the body and all these things. And that's when I learned about that. And I'm integrating that not only into my life, but also into my classes, into any meditation that I'm teaching, any yoga class, and even that energy that you can enhance the mood to go up, or to really dive deep into the shadow sides, or any kind of journey. And music is so supportive of any journey, really. I mean, yesterday, even in normal life situation, I was in the kitchen. I was like, gosh, I want to listen to music, but nothing felt right. It's like, oh, I can't find the right mood that I want to go into. And same with the music that I'm making. Like I go to the guitar usually when like I said in the beginning, I'm a very positive and happy person. And when I feel like, oh, wow, I can feel like the weight of the world sometimes, then I go to the guitar and I just let it play me and let the emotions go through. And that's how I write songs. And it's a beautiful way to just really express and experience these feelings, experience grief, experience and experience loss or happiness. Like it's I'm exploring that now too. So oh yeah, I mean the impact of music in my life, and I think a lot of people's lives, is it's infinite.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's why I have an album called Infinite Energy.
Yeah.
It's my 7 songs for 7 chakras, and it works through all the chakras. And
Yeah.
it's an infinite flow, as what you're saying. Like if you're in this emotional state and you pick up the guitar, I loved how you said the guitar plays you. Like you're just in this flow state, and the music is, as John Lennon said, he didn't write one song, he allowed for the song to write itself. And that's really powerful. So it's like, whoa, blow the mind out.
Yeah.
It's like allowing. And I feel like also what you're saying with Connection University is how to connect to that self-expression, that joy, those emotions, whether it's grief or pain or sorrow, or just like icky, sometimes we're in there and like for whatever reason, the sound healing benefits of either a guitar, piano, whatever instrument of choice, or just playing music, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that just shifted my energy. Like, okay, I'm going to get up and dance now. I'm going to move my body. You get some house music and bumping.
Yeah.
I know you've been the Burning Man like I've been. So
yeah. And even when I teach these embodiment, like ecstatic dance, warm up embodiment practices, like you can really allow these emotions to just be in the body, because our cells store all of these emotions, and then the music helps to really let them out and recreate containers and atmosphere where it's safe to let them out, because we learned that being angry is not good, right? So but like experiencing again with the container and the right music is like, it's good. I mean, yeah, I could go on and talk about that for a while.
Totally. And the reminder too is like emotions are temporary. And when I was teaching high school for many years, that's one of the things I used to share with students, because they're in their teenage years and they're going through so many things. And like even once I had a student that was, sharing privately that he was going through a rough time because his parents were going to divorce. And I was authentic and said, like, you know what, my parents divorced when I was 15. I was in high school. And that sharing and that connection, it felt like, oh, you get me, you see me, you understand me. And that's really powerful, I feel, when you can create that presence to say, emotions are temporary. Right now, you're feeling this, and there's another side to this, and be with it. It's almost like the analogy of like when you're lying in the grass and you're watching clouds pass, right? You can either dwell on one particular form or shape of a cloud and like attempt to follow it, but guess what? That cloud will go away. As they say, time heals. So whatever you're going through, because we're all going through a lot right now. A lot of us are feeling the feels, a lot of challenges right now.
All of them in one day.
Yes, and it's every individual. If you look at the root word, it's a Greek word, is pandemic, and pan means all, endemic means people. And it's truly something on a global scale that all people are experiencing in our unique, interesting ways. I'm giving tons of love to Pablo. He said, so glad I came across this. So I'm grateful for you being here, Pablo. Yes. Hey, here's Michael. Love the discussion. What up, Steffi? This is the fun part about live streaming in real time.
Talking about Burning Man. Yeah, we met at Burning Man last year.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So anyone out there, comment, ask a question, share, and let us know where you're located. We're always curious to, because we have the webs, right? Just like out there. It's like Spider-Man. So like how far is this reaching? And that's what's great. Like there's this, so that's the interesting part, the theme of like there's global connection, there's like a global communities, and then how is it that sometimes we just feel like, oh, we're the only ones experiencing this, even though if you look at the news, if you hear, we're all experiencing this. But why is the mind such a foolish tool sometimes where it's like, wait, am I the only one? Am I the only one feeling weird? Am I? And then it's like, there's
Yeah.
7.8 billion people roughly on the planet, almost 8 billion. Obviously, a lot of people. Oh, Pablo's in Encinitas. And the beaches are
Mm.
closed in San Diego County. The parks are closed. So Encinitas, although it has this magical allure, it's now everyone's indoors. You might get a view of the ocean, but you can't be on the beach. So I know a lot of surfers are pretty bummed out right now,
Mhm.
because it's like that's that connection, right? They connect with the waves of the energy of the flow.
Yeah.
And when you're in that flow state, as we were saying earlier, with your guitar, your music, and your self expression, and when it gets stopped, and this is really what's happening on a global scale, like the world just, there's a pause button on your remote. It's like pause.
All right.
It's like whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what is your like go-to like schedule routine? Are you finding that you have a container, a routine, or anything that consistently, or do you feel like there's a lot of exploration of, hey, it's another day and it's another moment, it's another second. Like we're not really, a lot of people don't even know what day it is right now. And by the way, if you're watching right now, it's a day that ends in the letter Y.
Oh, that's such a dad joke.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, I love it. Oh, good.
Too funny. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So some people are still trying to sort that one out in their mind.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
if you like my jokes, my Venmo's below. I have a little tip jar. But ching.
I'm gonna PayPal you for that one.
Yeah, there you go. We'll get you back on the.
Yeah.
So what have you created? Have you and your partner, your roommate, have you both been like figuring it out? Like, because that's the thing. And I'm really grateful you mentioned at the beginning of this interview, like some people are by themselves. Actually, a dear soul brother friend of mine, Walter, he was being interviewed yesterday, and he's like, yeah, I'm by myself. I got a view of the ocean. He's in North Carolina. I can't see my mom. I can't see my friends. Can't see anyone. And he's such an extroverted person. Like I know you and I are as well. And it's like, what do we do with all this energy? And for me, of course, I'm live streaming more. I'm launching more music. Got a new release coming out April 24th, May 8th, May 22nd. And so there's this like creative flow. And then, of course, you and I got to collab at some point.
Yeah.
And then you got your program you're running. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what do we do with all this energy? I think that's really what the big question is. And how do you like create some structure? Because one of the sayings I've heard, you may have heard me say, is like dreams are just dreams unless there's timelines, right? You could say one day or someday I'm going to do this, or I want to have this, or like, so how do you put that into like daily action steps? Maybe a tip that someone could hear.
Mm-hmm. So I'm again, I think I'm the opposite of what, like, oh yeah, I'm just going to dream. I'm like, I want to get it done now. The world needs it right now. And then I get into this full week of, I need to get it done. And it's like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Wait, I have time. Everything is going to happen in divine timing. But structure, it's funny that you mentioned that because we haven't talked about this. I just released a guide to how to home office, basically.
Nice.
And it's all about structure, boundaries, and rituals. And I love to flow too. And I've experienced that structure actually allows me to flow in those parts of, if I dedicate for podcasting, then I can flow in podcasting for 4 hours. And if I dedicate some time for making lunch, then I can flow in there without thinking, oh, I should do this. So I feel like you're either online or you're offline. I think that is really important. Really dedicate time and structure for that. And my personal is I do have I think I'm pretty structured, but it doesn't feel like structured because my structure looks like I'm ideally not working before 11 a.m. And my before 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. is I'm going to meditate. I'm going to nourish myself. Like I call it self-nourishment. And beautiful. It used to be, for 4 years, it used to be the same meditation every morning. And then I allowed it to be, because it's changing every time. Like, it's changing every week what I need. My cycle's changing, you know. It's like, maybe my meditation needs to be an Ashtanga yoga class or Kundalini yoga class, or sometimes it just needs to be, I'm going to lay on my belly, listen to Louise Hay, and just affirming myself how beautiful I am, you know. So but there is definitely, I need to start the day with self-nourishment. So, because again, it goes back to that piece, I need to nourish myself so that I can actually nourish everything that I'm creating.
Yes.
Because I don't want stress or exhaustion go into projects, because that energy will, everyone who receives that offer is going to receive that too, and that's not what I want. So, and the ability to pause, you know, that's the meditation piece, just the ability to pause and like, okay, what is this, how important is this really? If my mind gets to like, let's get it done now, you know, or to pause and say, okay, what are my priorities here? And one of the biggest things that have helped me in the last probably 6 months is having an accountability buddy. And
yes,
right, and we meet every week, and she's in Seoul, so again, doesn't matter where we are, but it's important that we're dedicated and supportive of each other. And sometimes the call looks like, okay, I'm just going to listen to you, you know, because and other times, like, okay, help me getting things done, like, help me structure this, I'm like all over the place, help me.
Yeah,
so
I got a to-do list that goes this long,
yeah.
all the way down
Yeah.
my arm.
Yeah, and it's
Totally.
so beautiful, that accountability buddy, like having an accountability buddy, we remind each other of, hey, have you celebrated this, because you've actually accomplished something big, or remind us that, hey, you've been there before, how did we solve this last time?
Totally.
You know, just really, yeah.
Pablo just said, love that, self-nourishment. And we have Andrew Valinsky.
Oh, hi.
What's up, fam? Nice exchange. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we have come to our 5th question, which is, how can we find you online?
Oh, Bob. Yeah. So you can find me on Steffi Seefeld on Facebook, and on Instagram, exactly, the Steffi Seefeld.
Yes,
such a weird, yeah. It's the,
yeah. Wherever you're at, take a screenshot. She can sign it after COVID-19.
Exactly.
Hopefully there's not a COVID-20. There's no sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your website, connection-university.com.
Exactly. Yeah, you can go there, and there you can find the online course there for your personal development, and also virtual vitality programs that I'm offering for companies right now, because
wonderful.
Shifting your team from being in an office into everyone is everywhere else right now, and again, this belonging piece and isolation piece, so there's so much of that, that I'm addressing there.
Yes, well, everyone, thank you so much for watching and all those comments. We love them coming in real time. It's so much fun. Yeah. So again, check out the Steffi Seefeld. Or is it the or the? How do you pronounce it?
I don't know.
The sounds a little more like royal.
Yeah, it's just the Steffi Seefeld.
Oh, gotcha. Perfect. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And everyone out there, just stay safe and healthy. And we just really appreciate you being here. And Steffi, I really honor your presence, your energy, your light in the world. And even though we're not physically connected, we're able to still be energetically connected. And I just want to send you tons of love and blessings.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm receiving it. And thank you so much for having me here on your interview live stream, DTO world. It's so amazing.
Hey. Yeah. You're welcome. Appreciate you. And I'll put up some information. Again, this is the current program that you're offering, but if anyone's interested, reach out to Steffi. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to just put in the comments. Steffi will read those and respond. And it's all about transformation. It's all about growth. And I really appreciate you encouraging everyone to go within and to feel connected to themselves. So thank you, sister.
Yeah. Thank you so much.